Hey everyone, just want to stop by real quick for this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser, the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Let's do it to it. All right.
Question, are we expecting? No, we are not expecting. Our relationship is not sexual. And even if it was sexual, I'm not even 100% sure mannequins can get pregnant.
Welcome to the John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. Hey, how is everyone? What's going on? So we're here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show. This is your host, me, Juan D. Clouser. You might be like, John, why are you using this microphone again? Why are you doing all this? And the reason why is because I just wanted to check. Okay, so I have this Zoom, like I told you guys last week. And you know what's so funny is like I'm going to be doing a lot more shooting videos. I have projects coming up. So I'm in like the pre-production, like the last few weeks, bought some new lights. I don't know if you guys can notice right now. I actually have 3 additional lights up, checking them out, seeing how they work with it. They're pretty cheap. They're not that great of lights, not gonna lie to you, but I only paid like $85, I think, for lights that would normally cost like $300. So, hey, it's not that bad. It could be worse. So, yeah, and then what the crazy thing, when it came to my audio stuff, I always just rented a sound mixer and a recorder. And, it was additional like $200 to rent. And because like I had the Zoom and I knew it existed, but the thing is I always thought it never worked because of the 2 little microphones. And then I'm like, well, John, you can plug things in, and I've done it before. I felt like I plugged it in before, and I tried to record and it didn't show up. Nothing showed up, or it didn't record. And I was like, all right, well, that was fun. I tried like twice, and then that was it. There was no sense of like, okay, let's problem shoot. Maybe it's the batteries. Maybe it's the cord. Maybe it is the microphone. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's all that stuff. No. And I have this microphone that I don't even remember buying. I don't remember even buying this microphone. To tell you the truth, I don't think it's even mine. It's probably something I worked on a shoot. I work on shoots all the time. I've been doing it for well over 10 years. And the thing is, like, I'm usually one of the last people that leave. And one of the great things, if you're one of the last people to leave on shoots, then like there's a lot of dumb shit that gets left. So you can get like Duvetine, you can get markers, you can get tape, you can get all this stuff. Then you don't have to fucking pay for your own production. It's almost like a little tax, a little tip. Let's say a little tip they give you when you work on someone's movie. And so, but yeah, that's the thing. And I'm just testing it out. I'm trying it. To this week, what I'm doing is I'm focusing on trying not to eat the goddamn microphone, because I usually like to sit and have the microphone right here, and I think it's because of my own hearing. But what I need to do is I need to find a sweet spot where I'm like, okay, where it's not blaring in my ears, because I'm used to having audio blare in my ears when I do. It's like, John, you don't have to blare it. You can have it lower, and you can still hear it, and you can still hear the quality and like the different things, and if you hear humming or anything like that. So, but it's just, one of those things, audio, and it's a different type of recorder, so I'm not as familiar with this one as I am with my inbox. So it's like, it's fun to play with. It's fun to do different audio stuff, and my biggest thing is like, do it when like no one's listening, or when no one cares, when no one cares what you're doing, versus doing weird shit when like you have a lot of money on the line, or people have given you a lot of money and then it fucks up. Nothing's the worst than like doing a project, doing something, and then someone's giving you money to do and you fuck up on it. Oh man, all I ever think about is this short film I did out in, I want to say it was like Lamar, California. So it was out in the goddamn desert. The movie was called Flood. It was my very first. Oh my god! It was my very first opportunity as a director, and the first night we get done shooting, we did our first night, and we're going back to the hotel, and we get into a car accident. And then I'm like, oh shit. And it was pretty bad too, because it was a motorcycle in like our car. I wasn't driving or anything like that. And I was just like, oh no, this is it. My movie's over. It's my first opportunity I've ever got. And it was just like one accident after another. Then we went out into the middle of the desert. It was like 102 degrees. And we were shooting a car scene. So we had a van that was following the car, because we were shooting basically, because the van had a like suicide doors, but they had like wing doors. So they opened like that. And we just had the camera sitting, and we were just shooting going backward, like going forwards, but the car was like, we were shooting the car driving forward, but we were in front of the car. And when we were driving, one of the van got a flat tire and almost hit the car almost hit the van, because the car just basically just stopped, because we're in sand. And so it was just like, that was a problem. And then we got to the location, and we were renting these houses. It was so weird, because like they look like, but you know, like those plastic dog igloo houses that they have, or they used to have. I don't even know. Do they even sell those things anymore? Because they were such weird looking fucking things. That it's an igloo. It's like a plastic looking thing. It looks like an igloo, and it has like the little, like, you know, gate door on it. So imagine something like that, but instead of the gate door, it was an actual door for, you know, humans, normal door that you have for houses. But it was like that, the dome, and then everything was built underneath the ground, because you lived out in the goddamn desert. It was just the civilization was basically like a trailer park, but for these plastic dome houses. And the houses were kind of cool. People were weird. We got there, and the whole thing was like, we would pay up front. So as soon as we got there, I was like, hey, here's the $200 for every day. We're going to shoot for 3 days in these houses. And it was supposed to be just $200, 3 days. It's super easy peasy, lemon squeezy. $600. They're going to make it. I'm going to fucking pay you $600. Done. Over. And I had the whole thing planned. I had fucking 50 people. I had 50 people working underneath me. And I'm like, okay, we're there. And I had my second director go and was like, okay, can you go pay the person? And then, you know, because we got the money from the producer, and then we went and gave the money. And then I come back 20 minutes later, like, and she still had the fucking envelope in her hand, and she's like, oh, yeah, they said they want more money. They said this money's not good. This is not enough money. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not enough money? We agreed there was going to be $200. Like, yeah, they actually want like $400 a day. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. You have to be kidding me. So it's like, I have 6 actors. I have over fucking 30 extras. I have 50 crew people. I have film. It's 102 degrees. And it's like, what, guys? You guys can't be doing this to me like on the day of shooting. You guys can't be doing this to me. You guys can't. And it was just always one thing after another after another. And then there was the flat tire, which we had to pay for. I remember getting to the place that we rented the car, the car from, and like they were super excited, like, hey, you know, nice to meet you. We got out, and they're like, what the fuck did you guys do to this car? I'm like, we did a film shoot. And they're like, what, you guys just destroyed it? Because it was like all had sand inside of it. The front bumper was all fucked because of the accident with the goddamn motorcycle. It was like, it's just one thing after another after another. It was just such an insane thing. And then the movie came out, and it was decent. It was decent. And I'm like, at the end of it, I was like, I honestly, every night I would get back. I can't tell you how many times I cried making that goddamn movie. Like, it's such a beautiful juxtaposition, because I had this money. They gave me this budget. It was my first time having a legit budget. And I was able to rent out a whole ranch, and I had my whole cast and crew there. We were all staying at this ranch, and I can't tell you how many nights I would stay up, sitting on this bench at 2 a.m, just sobbing, being like, my fucking film career is over. This movie is going to be the biggest pile of shit in the world, and these people gave me this money, and I'm going to have to fucking. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to pay him back. I can't pay him back. I can't pay him back. It's like we've wrecked a car. We have a flat tire on the other car. We've broken 2 lenses. We may or may not expose some of the fucking film. It was one horrific thing after another. But that's what you do. That's what happens. And it's also why you probably shouldn't be directing a movie with a big budget at the age of fucking 25. But you live and you learn. Because what you do is you fake it till you make it. And then that's what you do. And you have a sweet time doing it too. And now you're older, a little bit more experienced. Still a pretty big dipshit. But you live and you have that. And you're like, hey, John, shit could be bad, but it could be not as bad as the flood set incidents that happen all the time. And then I ended up having it was the last day of our shoot, and I ended up having this long conversation with this Indian guy who I'm pretty sure was just wasted talking to me. Which he looked like a white guy, but he said he was Indian. He said he had but this was back when you could say this one, white people would say that shit all the time. Hell, look at me. I'm like, I have Indian blood in me. And you're like, do you, John? You kind of look kind of white to be saying some dumb shit like that. But it's like, I wasn't even fucking born in this country. Anyway, and yeah, he was telling me about eagles and how many times eagles have landed on his shoulder and shit. I'm like, what? Eagles have landed on your fucking shoulder? I'm like, where are we? Where the fuck are we? The Lazy Lizard Ranch. That's where we stayed at. That should be the title of this podcast, The Lazy Lizard Ranch. Should it be? I'm going to write that down because that's pretty fucking good. But yeah, dude, it's just a crazy thing trying to be a filmmaker, trying to do this film stuff. And now I'm getting back into it. I'm and I used to make my short films 15, 20 minutes long. And now I'm like, John, just try to make a 3-minute short film. Try to make a 5-minute short film. Don't make anything more than 5 minutes. Just in and out. Get it over with, get it done with. And I think that's the thing. That is the part of growing up as a filmmaker, as a person, as an individual, is that you have to do those things. You go really big because that's what you think you're supposed to be doing. Because I remember when I was 20, I remember when I graduated college, I remember literally when I threw the cap up in the air. And I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck now? And the thing is, I remember I went to my, my actual school's one, but I didn't go to, the big one, because when it was going on, you know what I was doing? I was in a podcasting studio making podcasts, making money, doing the thing that I went to school for. And so it was so funny because my parents were like, you're not going to go to the big one? I'm like, no. I'm like, they're like, why? Because the reason why I came out here and the reason why I got this degree was to do what I'm supposed to be doing, what my responsibility is. And that was, but that's it was so funny because that's the one I did with the chick from what was that show? It was on Fox or FX. The Draft Fantasy. God, what was that one? Lizard Ranch. What was that show called? I'm gonna have to Google it now because it's gonna annoy the hell out of me. It was fantasy football TV show. The League, that's what it was. Yeah, it was the girl who played Shiva. Yeah, my very first podcast I ever did. I think I've probably told you guys before. I need to post that picture. Because I've never posted that picture online because it's kind of a douche thing to do. I think. I don't know. I think it's kind of a douchey thing to post pictures with you and celebrities. I think it's kind of douchey to even ask celebrities to have pictures with them. I never asked to take pictures with celebrities when I meet them ever. Or actually, I should, and then just don't post it. Just keep it for myself and be if I see someone, oh yeah, I meant blah blah blah, and oh, you meant blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, here's a picture of me, blah blah blah. Here's proof. That's probably what I should do. But yeah, what was I gonna? I didn't even remember what I was gonna say. Football started. Oh my God. it was so funny because I read a thing. So Clyde Edward Alaire placed on the PUP list. Um, Although Clyde has been placed on the physically unable to perform list today by the Chiefs, I'm told his situation is not major. Could been taken off the list the next few days. Okay, well, still, because he's been injured. That's the thing. Like they say, there's some rules. If you've been injured, so it kind of goes by every level because it's like so basically high school football is triple A or double A base, or is like the equivalent of like double A, triple A baseball. It really is, if you really want to think about it, because that's the beginning of the farm league system that we have for football, and it's really the only system we have for football. Because it's so funny because there's so many other ways for basketball, there's so many different ways for baseball, and I think the reason why mostly because I think there's so much violence in football that the game is violent. You're causing a car crash basically. You're involved. I remember like when I played running back a lot more when I was a freshman and sophomore, and the thing is like the only time I ever got injured, the only time I really take that back because college. The big injuries, my big injuries were always no. I take that back too, but I guess knee injuries. No, was I when I was running with the ball. I guess that works. But it's because that's the last position that you can't protect. You can protect a quarterback. You can protect like wide receivers going through the middle. You can protect like everybody by not doing head-to-head combat hits, which was funny because that's the only way I played in high school was you're a headhunter. You lead with your head and you hit the shit out of someone. And the big thing is it wasn't like when we played in the sense of, or at least I played with the sense of, I don't want to tackle you. I want to hit you so hard that you don't ever want to play again. That was the mindset I played with. Because that's how I came up. Because I was always the smaller guy, and then the thing is I'm not even that small. I'm 6'1" in high school, and the biggest I got for football was 205. Right now I'm 6'1", like 195. Right now, I'm pretty solid, and but what was the thing with like each level is that they say is like if you get injured. And you going in, so if you're going from high school, if you get injured in high school, so if you tear your ACL in high school, most likely what's going to happen is you're going to get injured in college. And if you get injured in college, or if you go into like the season of the league, that the next level, then most likely you're going to get injured again. So it's just one of those like things, and that's the funny thing is that's just why I don't understand like why I played the reason why I played football and the reason why I dealt with like injuring myself was because like I was going to get my school paid for. Like some people are doing these leagues now, these practice leagues, or these like they work a normal fucking job. They're a goddamn accountant, and then they go and they play football on Saturdays in a league like a full contact. Like I'm like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to blow your knee out when you're just an accountant? Like it makes no goddamn sense to me. Like it makes sense. Like I have fucked up hands. I have like a massive scar on my left hand because of football. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm like, well, it got my school paid for. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like that was okay. Like I'm like, because there was a reasoning behind it. I wouldn't if I had that injury and it was because I was just playing some fucking rec league, like full padded rec league. I'd be like, this was the dumbest fucking thing. If I was just normal, if my hands were just normal, like 33 years old, and my hands, like honestly, it's getting to the point where I've lived more years with a fucked up left hand than I've lived with like years without one now. And the thing is, like, it's not even that bad. It's just that like, it has a massive scar. Like, knock on wood or anything like that. I don't have any crazy, what's the word? Any crazy like arthritis or anything like that right now. Like it's just like pretty easy hand. Like I have full strength in it, but like I also do a lot of strength exercises to keep my hands strong. So it is what it is. But yeah, football is just fucking. It's violent as fuck, and it's the most amazing game in the world because it'll make you a man. It makes you a human. It makes you a very responsible human being. Then especially if you're able to be good enough to lead other men, because that is a very hard thing to be able to do. And then especially harder to be able to translate that to like normal people, because a lot of normal people don't have that mindset that a top tier athlete does, because you get into routine and you do things. Like for me, like I have a routine. I have things I do every day, and I feel if I don't do these things, then I'm letting myself down. I'm letting a lot of things down. I'm letting other people down because they need me to be at a certain level to perform. And if I don't perform at that certain level, then we suffer. So, and that's the whole thing about being like a captain and a leader. You have to think like that. You always have to be someone who's thinking like a couple steps ahead. You should be thinking like that anyway for anything. Like, because if you bullshit in your job, you're gonna bullshit with your hobbies and everything else, because you've built this habit in the sense of saying like, well, at my job, this thing might just be like, oh, well, I could easily just fix it. It'll take 2 seconds, but I don't want to do it. Same thing will happen. Same thing will happen when you go home and you're working on that story, or that fucking that project, that art thing. You're like, well, I'm a little tired tonight. Like you did a lot of other things today. Like you shouldn't, like, you don't need to do that. No, you still do it. I'm losing my goddamn voice. So you drink beer, that makes it much better. That didn't help one goddamn bit. But what happens is like you build this habit of like it's always okay to push it off just a little bit. And then you'll push it off a little bit more. And you'll push it off a little bit more. And it's a shitty way of thinking. It's a shitty way of being. You shouldn't think like that. And the thing is, like, no one's going to give a Frenchman's fuck. No one gives a fuck about your dreams. No, like this thing, I hardly get any fucking views on it, on this podcast thing. But you know what? I don't give 2 fucks. I don't care. I do this because I want to get better at lighting. I want to get better at sound stuff. I'm doing a different fucking way of recording the sound I normally do, just because I want to try it. Because I want to challenge myself. The more you challenge yourself, the more you do things that are difficult, the better you become as a human. It's really funny. It's a theory I have. It's called the inside out theory. As nomads, when we were nomadic humans, we used to have this thought, or we used to have this feeling that like everything around us fucking kill us. We are very weak compared to everything else in this world. We're very weak. We're going to die if we don't keep our fucking wits to us. Then we were able to build houses. Then we were able to get showers in those houses. Then we were able to get, air conditioning in those houses. Then we were able to like have pieces of plastics and swipe things and get a hamburger and able to get that meat without having to do any sort of hunting, without any sort of like any threats of dying. And then like what happens is when you're sitting there in your car eating this hamburger, all you are left with your thoughts. And those thoughts, everything that was bad, everything that like was horrible that could have killed you outside goes from the outside and it goes inside your head, and your brain starts thinking about all this fucking shit. And this what I feel like this is what causes like depression and anxiety and all this stuff, because it fucking happens to me all the time, because my mind is not. If those things happen, it's because your brain's not being active. It's not being challenged enough. If you do things that are difficult, I work out. It's hard. It's very difficult. I get humbled every morning before I go to work. I try to be kind, try to be nice. That's humbling. I try to be humble. I try to be like, like if you do something wrong, if you're if you're out of place, if you like speak out of place, you got to be able to be man enough to be like, yeah, maybe I was the one that was in the wrong. Maybe I was the wrong person here. Maybe that was me. And then I come home and I write every night. Try to write 300 words. 300 words. Some nights super easy. Some nights not easy. Most nights, not easy. Most nights, I'm not running on I'm running on strictly work ethic. I'm not running on like enthusiasm of wanting to do it, and that's with everything, because like you have to just work at stuff. If it's the goddamn truth. If you want it, it's most things you want are not easy. Things you want that are not easy are great when you do eventually get them, when you eventually accomplish things. Like, as much as I'm sad about this most recent story, I turned into a contest that I'm probably not going to do anything with. I'm probably not going to hear back from, and that's fine. But guess what? You got to keep doing shit. You got to keep doing shit. I keep just doing shit. You got to show up, because guess what? It's crazy. Just showing up. I'm not saying showing up and you're going to succeed still. Most likely, I don't know. I probably won't succeed, but I'm showing up. At least I'm doing all the things I can control. But the thing is, like, there's a lot of people who have these same fucking dreams you have. A lot of us, all of us as humans have dreams. But most of us are too much of a fucking pussy to do those things. So if you just show up every goddamn day and just do it, and just get it done and get a little bit better, you're going to fucking grow leaps and bounds for most people, because guess what? Most people are fucking cunts, and they can't do a goddamn thing other than complain and feel like they're the victim. Don't be a fucking victim. That's my TED talk. I mean, but that's the goddamn truth. It is the truth. So many people just want to complain, but they don't want to do anything to make themselves better. Who gives a shit? In America, we live in America. America doesn't see, well, they see levels, but money doesn't see levels. Like, do you understand? You can drive a BMW and work at McDonald's. It's crazy how this shit can work here. It's because it's based on credit. It's based on the shit that doesn't exist. It really doesn't exist. It doesn't fucking exist. It's insane how this works, but it works so far. But guys, you just gotta do shit. You gotta just continuously do the hard thing. Like tonight, this podcast. I did a podcast. I got new lights, set those lights up, set everything up. After I get done with this, I have to put in all I have to import all this footage. I have to sync it all. I gotta write tonight still. I gotta do 300 words. I only was able to edit like 200 words tonight. I was able to write like maybe 60 words during the day. So, like, I gotta do work. But, because if I do it, I'll feel better about myself. I'll feel better because I'm actually doing something. I'm trying. I'm working towards something. I'm trying to better myself. At the worst, what you're doing is you're bettering yourself. You're making yourself better. Or you can just sit there like a fucking douchebag and be a dickhead and be angry. Because, guess what? People that are doing shit, they're not worrying about other people they're not worried about other people. You know why? Because they're too fucking busy doing their shit. They're too busy doing their own thing. And that's what you should be doing. Do a bunch of different shit. Do things that make you better. It'll make you better as a person. You fucking asshole. I'm joking. Actually, I'm joking. And occasionally drink a beer. And you know what? Guess what? If you drink nice, like, upscale beers, that doesn't make you have a personality. Okay? It doesn't. Nothing's wrong with a 6-pack of Tall Boys of Milwaukee's Best. You know why? Because it's like 5.9% alcohol, baby. I couldn't have said that any more of a way of being an alcoholic. I even, like, stuttered in a way that made me sound like I was drunk. Literally had one beer. I just slammed this fucking microphone in my mouth. But it's the truth, guys. I want you all to succeed. You know why? Because I really do believe if anyone watches this, if anyone's doing anything in this world, if you're living, you're breathing, I feel like you're probably doing better, and you could probably do better than I can. You're not applying yourself. Just apply yourself. Like, fuck. But for the longest time, I didn't either. I'm not going to lie. I didn't either. And now I'm like playing this catch-up game a little bit. I was like, God damn it, John, you fucking asshole. You fucking you waited not too long, but there were some opportunities you had, you squandered them. And plus, you're kind of an asshole. So, don't do that. Don't do that again. Don't be that kind of guy. Even though You don't mean to be, but you kind of a dick sometimes, dude. And sometimes you gotta say that about yourself. You gotta even say that to yourself. Like, dude, don't be like that. Don't be that dude. Don't be that person. Don't be that guy. You're better than that. Like, you went to Harvard, buddy. All right, I'll talk to you guys on the next episode. I got like 2 seconds left. All right, bye.